Hi guys, welcome back to our fourth webinar. So now we're gonna to get to know more about Tocvan Ventures, a company that identifies undervalued advanced stage targets with the potential for large-scale mineral resources. To discuss the company, we're welcoming Brodie Sutherland. How are you doing, Brodie?
Yeah, I'm excellent, Mark. Good to see you, and thanks for doing this.
We appreciate it. So just a quick reminder before we start the presentation. So for our attendees, use the chat again to tell us where you're joining from. Like again, the city, province. It's always nice to know. If you guys have any questions, use the Q&A function. Feel free to ask anything, whether you prepare the questions beforehand or if you need further clarification about a certain point. We address them after Brodie's presentation. So now I'm gonna turn off my camera and pass it to you, Brodie, to start the presentation.
Great, thank you, Mark. Okay, well, thank you everyone for attending today, and I want to thank everyone involved in putting this together. I know we started with a mindset of creating something that wasn't a huge cost for the companies, but big value for the shareholders, and I think they've done and executed just that. So very grateful to be part of today, and really excited to talk about Tocvan and our path forward. I think we're in an incredible spot in terms of our growth as a company, and I'm very excited to share that with everyone today. We're a company that's been around for 4 years. We're focused in Sonora, Mexico, which is an incredible mining jurisdiction, focused on gold and silver, looking for deposits that are right at surface and looking to develop them into production. And that's really what our core focus is as a company. We're very bullish on the commodities, especially gold, especially silver, and we think we're in an incredible spot to take advantage of that. We talk a lot about the future because we're excited about it. So please ask us questions, whether it's today or reach out afterwards. I'm happy to address any questions that you have. Why invest in Tocvan? We think we've built one of the best positions in Sonora, Mexico for prospectivity, for building out new resources. We've consolidated across 2 projects, 45 square kilometers. This is right next to other producing mines or in areas that's surrounded by operating mines. It's a very low cost jurisdiction. It's $130 a meter US to drill there. That means we can put a lot of money into the ground and develop these projects. Great infrastructure. You can drive to both of our projects 2 hours on paved road from the city. Just incredible access. Again, that means incredibly low costs. And when you move towards development, also very low cost to bring these into production and to operate those. And that's a key thing for us in the future of the company. We've already made our discoveries. We've had our discoveries at Pilar. We've had our discoveries at our other project, Picacho. We continue to drill there and find more. And it's about building that out into a bigger and bigger resource. We've also done a bulk sample at Pilar to show that you can recover those metals. So we're de-risking it as we go. And that's limiting the risk for our shareholders as we advance as well. And for us, right now, it's about drilling. We're drilling. We've been putting out results. The results so far have been fantastic, really showing the upside potential of a resource. That's going to go into a maiden resource estimate that's planned for later this year and keep advancing from there. We're also doing the work to be able to submit an application for mine development, which we can do very quickly in Sonora, and we can get back on a relative time scale to other jurisdictions very quickly. So I'll show an example of that, but this is such an amazing jurisdiction to be for mining. Really, our history as a company revolves around success with drilling. Every time we've drilled, we've been very fortunate to hit significant mineralization. That goes back from when we first drilled in late 2020 to today. And when you look at the Pilar project and its history, really it's something that had a fantastic start. It was discovered by the Lundins in 1996. They drilled 16.5 meters of 53 grams per ton gold, which is an exceptional hit. But the timing was off. We're looking at the mid 90s, gold's $380 an ounce. It wasn't the right time to advance this. So now looking forward to today, this project was forgotten for almost 30 years. We were able to brush it off and breathe new life into that. And now today, we think we have something significant that not only focuses on that high grade mineralization, but also the broad low grade mineralization around that. And that's going to be our bulk tonnage target for developing an at surface open pit mine. We've done our bulk sample. The average grade, the head grade for that was 1.9 grams per ton gold, 7 grams per ton silver. So excellent grade for at surface oxide resource. And we ran heap leach through that. Great recovery for heap leach. We think we can improve that significantly. We've shown that in the data, but also because of the nature of the gold and silver, we've shown that we can recover over 95% of the gold and a very high percentage, up to 98% of the silver through gravity and agitated leach. So this is something that really sets this project apart and what we're really excited about for the future of Pilar. I've talked a bit about our catalysts, but it's about drilling right now, continuing to do that. We have 7,000 meters planned for this year. We've already drilled to date 2,500 meters of that. So we'll see that continued and we'll see results coming out as we go. And then it's also putting together the pieces for our application for mine development. And then it's looking at the discovery potential beyond. And I'll show you in a couple slides why we're really excited about that as well. A quick snapshot on the company. One clear thing that will tell you exactly how we're aligned with our shareholders and minimizing dilution. We've been around for 4 years. We have 51 million shares out. That's after we've just done a financing for 2.5 million. Excellent shareholders. We've never done a rollback. We've got warrants out there, but most of them are well above 90 cents. So a lot of wiggle room with where we're trading today. And, I think this is really setting us up for a stronger future as we come into a better market. Our team, I'm a geologist by background. I've been in the industry for over 17 years now. Been very fortunate to work all over the world, see what works, what doesn't. And I'm very happy to be operating in Sonora. It couldn't be easier to operate here and advance things forward. And the key thing is that the people there understand mining. They know how to move these projects forward. They have amazing skill sets. 40% of our board are Mexican national. 2 of the board members between them have over 85 years of experience operating in Mexico. And then our entire technical team, this is their home. This is their backyard. Every part of our success is because of them. And couldn't be more proud to have that team down there driving this forward for us. And then the other key thing is, being able to communicate with our shareholders. So we've got great people that work with us in IR. Tyler Muir, a young guy, but a lot of drive behind him. And we started working with the Howard Group recently. For us, it's all about communication, being able to reach out to our shareholders and let them know what's going on as we continue to move forward. Sonora. For those that don't know Sonora, this is one of the best mining jurisdictions in the world. And all you have to do is look at a map and see all the dots on it that are operating mines to understand that. But this is an incredible mine-friendly jurisdiction. All the villages around us exist because of mining that occurred sometime in the past, in the last couple of 100 years. And that means, it's ingrained in who they are. They accept mining, they appreciate it, they support it. And you need that in a jurisdiction where you're operating. We're fully road accessible, 2-hour drive from our site to the city. That city, Hermosillo, has just under 1 million people there, has everything we need, has multiple certified laboratories where we can send our samples. Our drill contractors come from there. all our personnel, our office is there. It's just 2-hour drive away on mostly paved road to get to our site. So an incredible location that keeps our costs extremely low. And again, we're looking for low cost at surface deposits that we can advance quickly in a jurisdiction that has a clear permitting path to do that. And that's exactly why we're in Sonora. Here's a map looking at Sonora State, and the white dots are all the operating, some of them just come offline, but operating open pit mines around us. And this is showing you why Sonora is special. There's few places in the world you'll see this kind of density. If we added the underground mine developments here, the map gets a little bit too busy, but this is a very active place for mining. Hermosillo is the mining capital of Mexico, and our two projects in red are surrounded by these very advanced and producing assets. So excellent jurisdiction to be in. Home to Fresnillo, biggest silver producer of the world. Alamos Gold, 9 billion market cap. Agnico Gold, Osisko, Minera Alamos, the list goes on. Underground, Silvercrest, First Majestic. I mean, this is a place built around mining. And that's the thing we really want to drive home here. Okay, now for us, I want to get into Pilar and why we see tremendous upside from where we are today and as we move forward. And the key thing here is that in the past, we started with a small area around this main zone. And that's where we've been drilling the last 3 years. It's where we're still drilling today. But over the last 6 months, we've been able to consolidate a much bigger land package around that's actually 20 times bigger. And, you know, the key thing for us there is that area has immense potential behind it. And before us was completely overlooked. Everyone looked at this and said, you know, there's nothing really beyond Pilar. Don't bother. They were wrong. And over the last few years, what's really started to define things for us was the placer mining that's ongoing. And they're still active today. And they've been working up dry creek beds in this direction, recovering gold all the way. This is over 3.5 kilometers long. They've also moved up this drainage further to the east here. This is telling us there's something shedding gold outside of Pilar in our main zone. What is that? We need to start to define it. And we have done that instantly with our first round of sampling. This is spending 2 weeks on the ground, mapping, sampling, looking for structures, looking for veins that are mineralized. These are just some of the highlights, but exceptional results on surface that is showing that there's something much, much bigger here. There's also this big area to the east that's never been sampled. So that's the first significant. The second is that we've got this huge alteration zone further to the north, which you could see from satellite imagery. You could see when you're on the ground. The big question was, is it tied to mineralization? And we were instantly able to answer that with yes, because our first sample ever came back with 5.6 grams per ton gold, 106 grams per ton silver over a 2-meter chip on a silicified breccia that looks exactly like our main zone. Very encouraged by that. And then 2 kilometers away from that, we found an old mine working sample next to that, you know, over 3 grams per ton gold, over 1,200 grams per ton silver. It looks like we're high up in an epithermal mineralized system. This bodes well for exploration. And it's this work that we're doing that's really showcasing the potential. Recently, we had a major producer show interest to spend 30 days with 4 personnel to completely analyze what's going on here and determine if they want to get involved. So seeing that kind of interest from the local operators is telling us we're doing all of the right things. Now I want to zoom in on the southern area here where we've been most active recently and really start to highlight, you know, what our potential is and where we want to go from there. So again, here's Pilar in the main zone where we've been focused with our drilling over the last few years. We've got a lot more drill results to come. We'll be updating the market as we proceed with that. Off to the north, this is the placer mine development that's ongoing. pointing us to this direction further to the east of Pilar. And then all these red dots here, these are new samples that we've taken on surface. Again, this area has never been sampled before, but has tremendous potential. And we're showing instantly that that exists. There's actually even some old mine workings that exist adjacent to these. So we know that it's significant in grade. And then again, this area to the east is completely open, has never been sampled all down through this corner here. So tons of potential to continue to expand that. Now going back to our main zone, this is where the heart of our mineralization is. I had a great chat with an investor earlier today that, his analogy was that this is a tree and we're looking for other trees as we go. So we've got these parallel zones where in the past we've kind of hit the branches of mineralization. So we know we're close, but we've been slowly honing in on where the other trunks of mineralization are. And I think we've just hit those in their last two results that we've put out, in that we drilled 56 meters of 1 gram per ton gold, 18 meters from surface. There's high-grade mineralization within that, a nice low-grade envelope around it. It actually projects to surface where we took part of our bulk sample. So we know that's mineralized. And this is the best hit ever outside of the main zone. That's the significance of what we're drilling today, is that we're finding things that can immediately add to our resource and expand on that significantly. We followed that up with a hit in another parallel trend called North Hill. This is the second best hit ever outside the main zone, 42.7 meters of a gram. Again, close to surface, nice blend of high grade and low grade. Just incredible potential here. And we're continuing to drill and evaluate these corridors. We know they can be expanded. Surface sampling is telling us that, with great clusters of mineralization at surface. Same with that 4T. We sampled 3.5 grams per ton gold, 645 grams per ton silver at surface. And we're getting closer and closer to finding, the bigger bulk target that we're after. And really what this is telling us is that there's a much bigger target here. And that's what we want to continue to evaluate and build out. But we're going to start with a resource that focuses on the smaller portion and grow it from there. And that's the significance of where we're at today and where we want to take this. So, and again, when you zoom back out and look at the broader potential, it's immense. And that's why we're excited about where we are today. And I think the market really hasn't fully understood that potential and where this can go. But we feel that with gold trading at all-time highs, that market's coming, and it's going to be an exciting time for us as we move forward. I just quickly want to go through, May 17th, when we put out our first results. This is just a slide from Miner Deck, who put out kind of a top 10 for the week for drill results. The main thing I want to highlight here is that, to be on this top 10 list with low grade oxide in Mexico is a rare thing, but we made it. And now what we're seeing is, excellent grade, excellent width, but where we top everyone else is proximity to surface. And that's what's really got us excited here, that we're right there at surface. These aren't deep targets to go after. I think, this really bodes well for us in our future as we advance this thing. This is our current footprint of mineralization. We're expanding it with every drill hole. This is looking at the current area in long section, and there's tons of room to continue to expand this. This is open in all directions except to the west, where there's a big fault. So tons of potential there. And really what we want to showcase is that, because we're in a jurisdiction where we have so many other operators around us, we can point to what direction we want to go and how we have confidence in being able to continue to create shareholder value. And we don't have to look any farther than 50 kilometers away. where Minera Alamos took their Santana mine into production recently within the last 2 years. They've really only just started. They've barely produced off of it yet. But look at their valuation. We're at a $25 million market cap. They're trading, 8 to 10 times ours. And that's significant. I think that's the logical step as we continue to advance, is moving in that direction. Again, our bulk sample, which is the best thing we can go with that represents the grade at Pilar, is 1.9 grams per ton gold, 7 grams per ton silver. We're building out our first main resource estimate. We've got excellent recovery of the metals. Look at Santana. It's 0.65 grams per ton gold. It's less than 200,000 ounces. Total operating cost is $12 a ton, which is extremely low. And again, we think we can move in this direction and have the confidence in doing that. And then looking beyond, what's your upside? Looking at a company like Alamos Gold, which has operating mines in Mexico and in Canada, $9 billion market cap. The Mulatos mine, which is close by in Sonora, is a very impressive mine, 2.7 grams per ton gold, 18 grams per ton silver, 1.45 million ounces of proven and probable resources. This is excellent potential. And when you look at Mulatos and you look at Pilar, there's a lot of similarities in that they started with one pit, one area of mineralization, and that expanded into many. And I think that's exactly what we have in the works here. All-in sustaining costs that they're estimating for this year, for 2024, is just over $1,000 US. So they are definitely making money at gold over 2,300. So that's really the potential that we see for the shareholders as we continue to advancing in this direction. And we think it's going to be an incredible time for us and our shareholders as we move through that. I'll talk briefly about our other project, Picacho, which is consistently put on the back burner because of the success at Pilar. But it's an incredible project. It's 24 square kilometers. It's 18 kilometers from a 3 million ounce gold deposit and past producing mine. It's right off a 4-lane highway that connects Hermosillo to Tucson, Arizona. We drilled there once and we had a discovery right at surface at our San Ramon target. There's another 7 kilometers of trend that's never been drill tested, tons of potential, and it's surrounded by the biggest silver producer in the world, one of the biggest gold producers in Mexico, in Fresnillo. So just in an excellent spot. It's going to add huge value for our shareholders as we continue to advance it. Couldn't be more excited with it. Every time we go back, we find more there. One of the local ranchers kicked over a rock and found visible gold in it. So, it's got tons of potential behind it. But this is on our back burner because, we've got lots to do at Pilar as we move forward. For us, it's looking at where are we in our stage of growth? And, the interesting thing is that we've already gone through this discovery phase. We identified Pilar, we started drilling there. We continued to hit. We traded from 20 cents to $1.60. We've gone through this discovery phase and through a very difficult market along with a lot of our peers, we've traded off. Even though we've drilled better holes and done a bulk sample and consolidated this big area, this is where we're at. We're back in this trough here, but we think we're at this turning point because we're moving things towards development. We're continuing to move things in the right direction. Plus, we think we can amplify this part of the curve with new discoveries in our expansion area, new discoveries at Picacho, and we think that upside for our shareholders is quite significant. So we'll see how that carries forward, but obviously we're very optimistic on the future here and where we're at. Again, with gold at all-time highs, that still hasn't trickled down to companies of our size. We know it will, it always does, but we're very optimistic of that happening sooner than later. And when it does, this is going to be a great time of growth for our company. So to summarize, we're in a top mining jurisdiction in Sonora. This is an incredible place to develop. The local expertise, because of that history of mining, is what's really going to drive this forward. We don't need to bring in outside personnel. They all exist right there, a 2-hour drive away from the site. We have a goal towards near-term production. There's analogs like Santana next to us that have done that recently successfully. We have tons of discovery potential beyond what we already know. And I think that's really going to drive us as we go forward. The drill's turning right now. We've been rolling out drill results, more to come. I'm really excited about the holes that we're drilling today. I think that's really going to help us. And, we're getting interest from the majors, which is telling us we're doing the right things. And as we do all of that, we're keeping the share structure intact and able to secure funding through a difficult market. So, I think we're checking all the right boxes here. We just got to keep pushing forward as we go. But we're a unique company. We were able to pour doré from our bulk sample. This area is well endowed for gold and silver, and we're very excited about the future ahead of us here as we continue to move forward. And just to reiterate, our next steps, again, drilling, moving towards resource definition as a starting point, and then being able to expand off of that, and also going through the application for mine development and moving through that process to get to a construction decision. And we're looking forward 18 months to 2 years from now, being able to make a decision to build a mine, sitting somewhere, around 70 million shares out is our target. And then we can build something quite significant at low cost that won't dilute our shareholders and pay that back quickly. And I think that's going to be an exciting path as we navigate through that. And it's going to create tremendous value for our shareholders as we continue to move forward. So with that, I'll stop talking for a bit and answer any questions that are out there. Please stay in contact with us. My phone number, my email's right here. Reach out to us at any point, and we'll be happy to answer any questions that you have. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, thanks a lot for this well-detailed presentation. And as you were talking, some questions came up, and I would like to start with this one from Jeffrey, is asking if there are any risks with the mining jurisdiction in Mexico.
Sure. Yeah. With any jurisdiction, there's always risk. I think when you look recently, there's just an election on Sunday in Mexico, and that brought in a new president, the same party that was ruling before, but a new president that, we believe is going to treat mining a lot differently to the predecessor, AMLO. He was very vocal in anti-mining in the past. I think Claudia Sheinbaum is going to be, obviously trying to reverse a bit of that. The importance of mining is immense in Mexico, and I think there's no way you can deny that and try to move away from it. So, I think the recent election is going to be a positive thing as we move forward. And, I think right now, because of the election year, there's been permits and amendments to permits for mine developments that have been put on hold. And I think we're going to start to see those come through. And as we do, that's going to be the big green light indicator that, again, this is a jurisdiction that is extremely mine friendly, especially where we are in Sonora. Sonora is one of the top mining states in Mexico. Again, it's because of that history of mining there and the precedent of it. And we feel strongly that, this is one of the top mining jurisdictions in the world to develop. And that's why we're there.
Thank you. So we're still going to stay in the risk type of question. And we have a question from Keith Goldsmith, who's asking, what would you say is your biggest risk?
Our biggest risk, I'd say, just from navigating through the last few years is, ability to secure capital. I think that's always going to be the biggest risk for us. I think, with capital, you can navigate through the difficult times and you can continue to move forward. And I think we've been fortunate to be able to do that. I think that's going to improve over the next year and beyond. But But that's always going to be the key thing. If we can't raise capital to move forward, then that'll be the challenge. But there's lots of ways we can get creative to navigate that and mitigate it, and we've got a great team to do that. But again, we've been lucky to secure capital when we need it and keep things moving. Great support from a large family fund, and we'll continue to move forward. But I think I'm looking forward after going through the last few years, and I think it's going to be an exciting one for us.
Okay, so let's say in the capital you were talking about, and it came up as well. And Andrew Jones is asking, what is your current cash position and burn rate leading into the second half of 2024?
Sure. Yeah. So we just raised 2.5 million. Our burn rate for G&A is around 60,000 Canadian a month. We keep that as light as we can, but being mindful that, we need to be out there and talking to people about the company. When we're drilling, typically it's about 200,000 a month in terms of cost there. And so we have been actively drilling over the last couple of months, and we'll continue to be over the next month, and then evaluate where things are at. But, we want to drill 7,000 meters this year with what we have planned. We're comfortable in doing that with the capital that we have, and continue to move forward from there. So, the capital that we have, it's going to keep us going for another year beyond. And because we've been mindful of dilution, we'll look for the appropriate times to bring in additional capital to continue to accelerate things. But we'll see where the market goes and navigate that as it comes.
Thank you. And so now let's move forward. We have a question more related. So when you guys will get into production, and we have this question saying, would you consider hedging or locking in the gold price once you get into production?
Potentially. We're bullish on gold, and I don't think it's done. Maybe for the short term, we see it kind of trade in the range that it's in, or maybe even trade down a bit. But we're obviously bullish in the direction that it's going. So I would hate to lock in a price too low. But the fantastic thing about where we're at in Sonora is that with all-in sustaining costs, like look at the Mulatos mine, just over $1,000 an ounce. You're making money at 1,600 gold, at 1,800 gold, at 2,300 gold. You're definitely making money. So, we're in a jurisdiction that kind of helps mitigate any fluctuation in the gold price, but we're bullish on where it's headed.
And so still looking forward regarding the investors who have discussion as well. Pretty interesting. So it says, what are the next near-term catalysts for investors to look forward to?
Yeah, well, that's very easy. It's drill results. We're drilling right now. We've been putting out results. We've got more to come. That'll be fairly continuous over the next few months here. And then it's looking at, future development, that application for mine development, getting all that together, submitting that, building out our first resource. And I want to be clear there that that's our first one. That's the starting block. That's not where, looking back on the map, that's a small area compared to what we're looking at now. So that's going to be our starting block, and continuing to grow it from there. And then looking at, other exploration opportunities across that bigger expansion area and Picacho. So lots of catalysts to come. We're a very active company, and we love to keep our shareholders updated. So you can expect a lot of news from us. Yeah.
Thank you. And then we have one final question before our next webinar, and it is asking, what is this extra thing that makes you different from your competitors and or neighbors?
Yeah, I think it's our ability to make a jump from explorer to developer, and that has everything to do with the jurisdiction that we're in and the people that are involved. So, if for example, if we were in another jurisdiction in the U.S. or Canada to build something, that we're looking at would be an order of magnitude more expensive. We'd be looking at 100 to $200 million to build. That's not really attainable for a company of our size. It makes that more of a challenge. However, in Sonora, we can build something. Santana was built for 10 million Canadian. That's probably the cheapest mine I've ever heard being built. But if our expectation is to build something around $20 million US, that is definitely achievable. We know that can be paid back quickly through production because our deposit's right at surface, and fortunately right on top of a hill, so very low strip ratio to start. So we can pay that back quickly, no dilution of the shareholders. Again, I think we can be a near-term producer with very low share count and excelling from there. And, we look at companies like Torex Gold, also in Mexico, low share count, amazing resource. They've got an incredible resource there, but that's what's created immense value for their shareholders. So I think that's what really sets us apart, is that we can make that jump. And, we've also been very successful with drilling. And I think that's a huge testament to the people and our team. So, yeah, I could go on, but I think those are the key points there.
Well, thank you. You know what? It was a great great answer to in our webinar. So again, it was very informative, well detailed, and thanks a lot, Brodie, for being part of it and to explain more about Tocvan Ventures. And for our attendees, I'm gonna say see you guys to our next and last webinar, which is Pulsar Helium. So thank you guys again. Thank you, Brodie, and see you for the next one.
Thanks, Mark. Thanks, everyone.